Thanks for clicking on my video. My name is Dr. Harry McCleary, and if we haven't met already, I'm a licensed clinical psychologist and Navy veteran, and I spend most of my day throughout the week treating active duty service members with PTSD. In this time of a pandemic, there's a lot of information that's being thrown out there. There are a lot of difficult decisions that have to be made and a lot of difficult conversations that have to be had. Difficult conversations regarding what am I going to do with my children while they're out of school? What am I going to do with work, and how are the bills going to get paid? What am I going to do with my own personal health care and the health care of others? So I thought it'd be a great opportunity right now to talk about something that a lot of people aren't really talking about. That's listening. One of the most infuriating things in the world is trying to convey something important and the other person either not listening or not fully understanding where you're coming from. So whose fault is this? Is it the fault of the person talking, or is it the fault of the person listening? For right now, I'm going to say that it's your fault. And why I say that is because you are the one that is watching this video right now. You are the one that I have in front of me. One thing that I learned a long time ago in my profession is that you can't do couples therapy with just one person. Or you can't do family therapy with just one person, or even two people. So for this video, I want to concentrate just on the person that is listening. And I want to give you some tools that will set you up for success. In my profession, I hear this constantly. My wife doesn't understand. My boyfriend doesn't understand me. Civilians can definitely never understand what's going on. My kids are too young to understand. Or my favorite, my therapist doesn't understand me. What a lot of people are doing when they're listening is they're either listening to agree or they're listening to disagree. Or better yet, they're actually listening to respond. So they're collecting data so they can say something next. What I'm going to ask people to do for just a moment is to step away from that a little bit. And what I want to encourage people to do is to concentrate on listening to understand, and not just to agree or disagree or to respond back. The problem with listening to respond instead of listening to understand is we often miss what the person is actually saying, and we end up not actually understanding ourselves. Another thing that takes place is we end up getting lost very soon in a conversation. However, we don't let that person know. Maybe you've been in a conversation or maybe an argument where you got lost in the first 5 seconds, but the person talked for an hour. So you just said, yeah, right? Throughout the entire conversation. And then at the end, when the person says, hey, did you get that? You say, yeah, and then you just walked away. Is that something we do? Of course it is. With stress levels high, it's easy to end up getting arguments when having some of these difficult conversations. You might have a conversation similar to this of, oh, I think we should do this with our kids. Well, I think we should do this with our kids. Well, I think that's stupid. Well, that's why I don't ever tell your ass nothing, because you're always saying some foolishness. Who you calling a fool? See, you the reason that our kids is here now. Well, you can barely read yourself. Okay, all right. Let's take a pause and see where we might have possibly gone wrong here. With high anxiety, fear, not knowing what the future is going to hold, those things are going to make having these difficult conversations even more hard. And it also means that listening is going to be so much more important. Listening by itself is tricky because it's so simple, it's difficult. It's so simple that we all think that we really have it down and now we can add more things to it, such as advice or judgment or blame or ridicule. What I want to challenge people to do is simply, for just a moment, listen to understand without those extras. And I want to give you a few tools to help you along this process. That first tool that I want to give you is learning how to effectively reflect back the information that you're actually hearing. So when someone is talking, you do not give advice, you do not give your opinion. What you do is you simply reflect back what was said. Some examples of those might be, so what I'm hearing is that you're struggling to juggle work and the kids, and right now you need some help from me. Or sounds like what you're saying is you're scared of this virus situation and you don't really know what to do. Or maybe it's more personal what they say. What I hear is that when I yell, I scare you and I scare the kids. I can hear some of you out there saying, I'm not a psychologist and I'm not good at this. I can't just paraphrase somebody and hold it in my head. Okay. Well, what I want to encourage you to do is simply say exactly what they just said. And I'm not saying that you need to parrot everything that they say if they say a long paragraph. What I am saying is, as you're listening, if something sticks out to you that they say, simply reflect that statement back. So if somebody says a whole different, paragraph or statement about how they're struggling at work and how they're really thinking about quitting, maybe you just say, so I hear you're thinking about quitting. Or you're thinking about quitting. And see what they say. The next tool I want to give you is how to ask clarifying questions. And these are questions about what has already been said, not about what you think they might say in the future, but what they have already said. So statements such as, am I getting you right? Or can you say that again for me so I can fully understand? Or am I tracking? Am I understanding you right? This gives people an opportunity to correct you. I will say that I talk to people and listen to people the majority of the time in my week, and I do not get it right all the time. And I don't expect you to either. What this does is it gives people that opportunity to correct you before they move on, before they add something on top of what you already don't understand. You understand first, and and then they can move on with the conversation. This is all you get. Two things: reflections and clarifying questions. And honestly, this is all you need to listen to understand somebody. Now, this is going to be difficult. Many of us have an opinion. We want to give some advice. We know so much about this person's background that we feel like we know what they're going to say next. I'm going to encourage people to pause some of that so they can fully understand somebody. Now, I can hear my veteran buddies already telling me, hey, I ain't got time for that. I need this conversation to get rolling. These are difficult decisions that need to be made. They need to be made right now. So I don't have time to just sit there and listen to somebody. Okay. Well, I would say, or my rebuttal to that is, if you're just listening to respond without fully understanding somebody first, how good can your responses actually be? It's really hard to get into a argument with somebody who's just trying to understand you and is trying to listen to you in this way. Now, it's not impossible. Some people will try to push your buttons even when you're trying to do this. But really, they have nothing to go on unless they pull something that actually didn't happen during the conversation, which sometimes we do. My response to when somebody tries to pick an argument during this situation where you're just trying to listen is simply to reflect what's going on in the conversation, reflect what they actually said. Maybe something like, so it sounds like you're upset that I'm trying to understand you right now. Or it sounds like you're getting upset because I'm trying something new. And see what they say. In these times when a lot of individuals are having a lot of difficult conversations and having to make a lot of difficult decisions, it's more important than ever that we try to listen to one another. We try to understand one another. There is an opportunity here to grow in relationships despite the obvious stressors that are going on right now. So I encourage everyone, but especially my veteran brothers and sisters, to utilize these listening skills. And you might find that by doing it, you actually speed up the process of making some of these decisions, and you actually get a lot more done. As always, if anything in this video spoke to you, like it, please subscribe to my channel. But more than that, if you know a veteran or anybody that would benefit from this message, I ask that you share it with them. Because at the end of the day, especially during these times, that's all that really matters. One veteran trying to help another.